Welcome to Reformed and Real, where we take a journey with our people fresh out of prison and how the community around them really feels. My name is Mario Hernandez, and I am one of the afflicted people that got released into the community, here to try and figure out how this looks.
And I'm Wayne Burt, innocent bystander. Actually, I'm a curious moderator, someone who wants to know about our prison system, the challenges, and all the support that exists around it.
That's great. That's great. There's a couple of things we wanted to do here. The first one is let people know what we're doing here, right?
Exactly, yeah. What is the goal of the show? If you were to describe a show in an interview, right, like, you're being hired for something, how would you describe the show? What's our goal? What are we trying to do here?
Well, our goal is to build a community, first of all, right? And through knowledge and through having perspectives of not just the person that's getting out of incarceration, the people that are giving them jobs or prospective employers, leasing agents, rental companies, management companies, people at the grocery store, people at the gas station, how those people receive them, how they think about them before they're even there, right? Because you don't really know who's around you until you're around them.
Sure.
So I want to tap into those different dynamics, those different people, and find out, how do you feel about if you're walking next to somebody in the grocery store, and somehow the word "I'm a felon" came out of their mouth, right? And how would you feel about that?
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, so you're not trying to unnerve people. You're not trying to unnerve the public. Do you know that 55% of the people in this grocery store are they're all released from prison. They're all convicted felons. No, but it feels like you're trying to take the stigma out of it. Let people know that these are real people, and they're people that have struggles like you and I suppose, huh?
Yeah, that's absolutely it. It's unnerving people is never going to happen, right? And really, who wants to scare people? It's like saying,
sure.
It's not really like telling your kid, you're going to get into an accident if you drive like that it's not like that. And I'm glad you said that, because it helps me, I guess, kind of have an avenue to explain that we don't want people to think that everybody that gets out of prison is a bad person, and we can't keep incarcerating them. The thing is, Wayne, is when we get to think everybody is normal, just like we are. Well, normal in quotations as the community sees it, or, some people see it. Everybody grows up differently, and everybody has different challenges. And I think the key is to get people out, get them safe, and get them to work, and get them to feel like they belong out here. Yeah,
it feels like you're trying to take the us and them out of it a little bit, right?
Right.
It's like, I've never been convicted of a crime. It's like, oh, you've been convicted of a crime. You suddenly get tucked away into this little forgettable category, and that isn't the way human beings work, right?
Yeah. And unfortunately, the receivers of that, the people getting out of incarceration, unwillingly or unknowingly, the people that receive them, sometimes they hurt their feelings, right? And we just want them to feel better. Whatever we can do.
Sure.
Yeah, if we can, give them a hug or tell them, it's going to be okay, or give them a resource, right?
Yeah.
Like, here, you can get housing here, or here, this guy hires, and here, you need somebody to talk to. This is a place, and this is a person.
Because all in all, everybody feeling better about themselves is a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
Pretty good goal.
Everybody wants to feel good.
Everyone wants to feel good.
I like to feel nice.
Yeah. Well, you have a story, and I think that we decided this would be a pretty good place to start. Really, I always call it the source of the Nile.
Yeah.
It's like all the tributaries come off of that.
Yep.
And you have a particular story, and that you spent a good time being incarcerated. But I would like to go back a little bit further. Just tell us a little bit about yourself before your story of being incarcerated. Where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like? And then maybe we can go from there.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. I was raised all over the country. So I was raised by a mom who was a bookkeeper, very intelligent, responsible, smart, track star in high school, beautiful. And she met my father, who happened to be a heroin addict. and an alcoholic at a young age.
Where was this?
This was in Twin Falls.
Gotcha.
So, so this is all local, pretty much. Twin Falls is the base. I was born and raised in Twin Falls.
Gotcha.
That is the base of our operations for our family.
Magic Valley origins.
Yes. Idahoan, potato guy.
I know I recognized you.
Yeah. So I think to get started, we had a lot of issues with when we were kids. So I'll tell you my earliest memory. So it was Christmas time, and we were living out at the old labor camp. I must have been like 3 or 4. The old labor camp in Twin Falls.
Where was that at?
That was if you go down Washington, like you're heading out of town, going towards Jackpot.
Yeah, south.
It used to be. Well, it's still there on the right hand side, but they changed it a little bit.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember.
So I remember a Christmas. I remember a tree. I remember some presents, and I remember my dad. He couldn't keep his eyes open, and he was stumbling around. And my mom was like, I'm going to take the kids and get them out of here. And so she grabbed us up, and unfortunately, that's the first time I saw him put hands on her. My mom was the recipient of the worst part of the abuse until we were maybe a couple of years older.
Gotcha.
But, we saw it.
Sure.
We saw it. We might as well have been getting it, too.
How old were you at the time?
I remember 3 years old was my first
very
memory.
young, really young.
Yeah, and it progressed. We had my grandmothers, both of my grandmothers and grandfathers on both sides were in Twin Falls as well, migrant workers. As a matter of fact, my grandpa was the first migrant worker to hit Twin Falls back in 1956.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that we had an issue. My mom didn't want to. She wanted to separate from my dad. She wanted to divorce him. But back then, as a Mexican family, you don't get divorced. You stay together, right? Once you get married, you're gone, and you're not coming back home. And that's a perspective my grandparents had.
Through thick and thin.
Yeah. So we ended up moving away. We went, I think, as early as I must have been probably 7 years old, and I might mix these areas up, but I remember going to Chicago, and my dad was at the height of his addiction, and I'll never forget this specific incident. He had went and picked us up from school, and my mom was at work. She was always working, and he grabs me and my brother and he says, "Let's go." And we're like, "Okay." So he takes us up into the attic and makes me and my brother lay down in the attic, and we hear the pounding on the doors and over and over and over. Me and my brother are like, "What's going on?" And come to find out, it was the police. They were looking for my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just kids. We didn't know what was going on.
Sure.
And, my mom came home, and this is my memory as far as I remember it. Mom came home and she says, what's going on? Where's everybody at? She's looking for us. And finally my dad comes out of the attic sweating bullets. Right. And me and my brother are just itchy, and, they get into an argument. He ends up beating her up. And, my mom's like, she's like, "I'm going to leave you." And this is my memory of it, right? "I'm going to leave you," we're leaving. And, he beat her up some more. The next morning we get up, and she gets up with, she's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
And she's got her arm like pinned to her chest. And me and my brother knew what was up. We didn't really know, but we knew what was up. We heard it, and we felt it all night long. And it's crazy, Wayne. It was crying what seemed like for all night long, begging him to stop. But he never did.
Yeah.
Until he was tired. So moving from Chicago to Texas to California, we moved around throughout our childhood everywhere. And the same thing happened everywhere we went.
With the whole family unit, your father and your mother
Yeah.
was still together.
Yeah, well, he would never let her leave. We went to, and I'll tell you, we did go to a family shelter once. he went and he hunted us down. He found us, basically forced my mom to come back. And back then, the domestic laws were a little different. They weren't. They just weren't there. They were non-existent. So we'd have to go back. My dad would get in trouble, and he'd go to jail, go to prison, and guess where we would go? Back to Twin Falls, home base.
Sure.
To my grandmother's house with my mom, and they were always judgmental to my mom about it, right?
Sure.
Everybody's like, "Oh, you can't leave your husband, and you picked him, so now you got to stay with him. You got married, you shouldn't have got married," and that's honestly what forced my mom to be in that relationship for as long as she was.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah,
that's difficult.
Yeah. So, and the abuse that we endured and that we watched the whole time was insane.
Yeah, that must have made an imprint in your brain, and the really deep way, because you're open as a child and all that stuff gets in there in the deepest ways. That kind of coated your DNA a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did this cycle last between your mother and your father?
Until I was 15.
Ah, gotcha.
So then something very drastic happened. I'm okay to say this over the air, but he stabbed my mom 7 times when she told him she was going to get divorced. He tried to kill her, and at that time I was going through it. Wayne, the part that I didn't tell you was this: at this time I'm so messed up that I'm drinking and I'm smoking marijuana and doing bad things.
Already by what age? By like
14.
14.
Yeah. By 15, I find myself at St. Anthony over in St. Anthony, Idaho. That's the youth services center is what it was called.
Right. Right.
So while I'm in there, I get a counselor come up to me and says, "Hey, we need to see you in the office." I'm like, "Okay." I really didn't know what was going on. And they told me, "Your mom is in the hospital." And I was, and me, my mom was my everything. She was my protector, my love, my friend, my everything, right? She was everything to me and my brothers. And when that happened, it was heartbreaking. I couldn't even begin to describe what I felt that day.
Yeah.
But I know that it hurt. And they had to restrain me at St. Anthony because I was just freaking out, punching walls and windows and
sure.
freaking out. I mean, and honestly, I knew at the time that I was freaking out, I was basically doing it on purpose because it wasn't something that was out of my control. I did it on purpose because I knew I would feel better if I punched this window and started kicking around.
Sure.
Some people just do that naturally, like they just do it and they don't feel it, they don't understand it. But me, I did it on purpose. So I remember doing it. I'm like, I really don't want to be doing this because it hurts my hand. But, anyways, so my mom gets on the phone and she tells me, she says, "I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. Your dad's in jail." And so as time progressed, my dad's doing a trial and I'm getting ready to get out. And I get out and I get home and it's just my mom and my brothers and my sister. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, gee, we're finally free. We're free of the monster. And it's actually it's a very vivid memory that day when my mom picked me up. The drive home, we were in a 1976 Cutlass Supreme, gray with the red top. And everybody was so happy, because he was gone.
Yeah.
And my mom was okay. And so I end up having, obviously, remember I told you I was smoking pot and then all that drinking. And that's when I was just doing bad things. And I ended up going to St. Anthony, like I said. But that just started a culminating problem, what lasted years.
Yeah, it was a cycle. And by that time, it was well underway.
Right.
Even though maybe you had a little bit of denial about it, I suppose.
Yeah. I always had a little. I think it's funny because when I think about those years, I think about some of my friends. Like I had friends that, they were clean cut guys, and they had no idea the trauma that I had been going through, right? And because I would be hurt at home, and then I would see them, and it would be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" We had fun, and I was just like the guys. I was one of the fellas, and nobody ever knew.
Sure.
And I wrote a book about this one day, and I'll just real quick. I called it "All of These Me's," if that tells you anything, right? All the different people I had to be going through life, trying to manage my emotions and my mental state. So we started moving on, but unfortunately I was so far gone that I was just drinking and smoking pot all the time and just up to no good, doing bad stuff. And, I got taken under my wing by Police Chief Jim Milden from Twin Falls. One of my most favorite people in the whole wide world. But he's passed away now. But anyways, he used to take me to his Rotary Club meetings and say, "Hey, this is my son Mario," and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, everybody?" They're like, "He's a little brown for you, ain't he?" So
another one of your me's.
Yeah, another one of my me's. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and there was many. So, as I went on, I would get a job, which I was really good at getting jobs, but then I would tank them. My first real job as an adult, I worked for K49 Television in Twin Falls. And it was a fluke how I got the job, but that's how I got into broadcasting. Unfortunately, I did some bad stuff at the station. I was doing drugs in there. I was doing all kinds of stuff, but I was doing good work. I was producing commercials and doing all this cool stuff, right? And everybody's like, "Holy cow, Mario's doing all this cool stuff," but I was a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Needless to say, I had to go to prison from there, right? Not from the building, but from where that's place in life.
Yeah.
So that's the pattern.
What led to that? Were you dealing drugs? What were you doing?
I was dealing to get high, selling to get high, and I think and most everybody that gets in trouble for selling drugs or trafficking drugs or possession with intent to deliver is getting just taking care of their addiction.
Sure.
And it's a crazy thing that that trying to manage your addiction does other things, and we'll talk about that later in a later episode.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, most of the time it's not, well, I have a goal of becoming a drug entrepreneur, but I'm going to stay straight myself.
Yeah.
That's not really the way it works.
Yeah, it's virtually non-existent.
Yeah. And so that period of time from, say, 14 to what, were you in your early 20s at the time?
Yeah.
You were just being led by addiction mostly.
Yep.
While simultaneously managing this appearance of a life, this straight life, the one that could hold jobs, at least for a while, the one that could go to the Rotary Club with Chief Milden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but it all came to a head.
Always. It was all that, and that was you can carbon copy the first time from the good job to jail, probably 10 times. So it's, that low power TV station. I worked for KMVT in Twin Falls, and I worked for Creme Television in Coeur d'Alene, and I worked for KView in the Tri-Cities. I worked for so many TV stations, broadcasting companies, production companies, audiovisual presentation companies, and I managed restaurants for years too.
Yeah, so you had some function at the time. Well, these are all these seeds are going to culminate because they all mean something in the story of Mario Hernandez. You are listening to Reformed and Real. I'm Wayne Burt, joined by Mario Hernandez. We are the two hosts of the show. Thanks for telling the story. You don't seem too traumatized by having to tell us that stuff. It really, I really appreciate it. And I'm really happy that you're able to just sort of dissect, where your journey has come from. That is really some profound stuff,
Well, yeah, it's definitely, it always hurts my feelings when I think about it, right? But today I'm stronger than I was, and I think I'm in a better place to let it all out.
Yeah.
And let people, I don't care that people know where I've been.
Sure.
I don't. It feels good for me to let everybody know that I come across, this is where I've been, this is what's happened to me, and it's a miracle that I'm sitting here today.
Sure, sure. Well, not that we're all necessarily celebrating, but we are in a way because, I think that in my experience is one of the things that was very striking about you is that you were just upfront about the whole thing, you know. My first experience probably with that, which I think is pretty remarkable. So this is a journey for me too, but it is like, okay, so if they grip about knowing that someone has been a felon, especially considering like the way people, like employment agencies are really sketchy about that whole sort of thing, right? Yeah. But I can tell you the personal experience of you just coming right out as that being part of your story. I mean, it just cleared the air, you know, and it made a big difference, you know. As for how, you know, that can happen with other people, well, that's kind of what we have hopes for, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the whole goal. Is I think we should, instead of ostracizing, we should, I don't want to say normalize, but honestly, bring people into the community that are from here, that we want our people to get out, stay out, and just walk alongside with us.
That's right.
Watch them cut their grass, you know, watch them play at the park, and, you know, look at them but not really know who they are at the racetrack, or, you know, going to football games and coaching, and really just to get the community past those, you know, thoughts that will inhibit somebody's growth.
Right. Listen to the stories.
Yeah.
Listen to the stories.
Yeah.
So, you know, so this ended up poorly for you before now, right? And you spent a considerable amount of time in the Idaho prison system.
Yes.
So when did that begin? How old were you?
All right. So my first bout in the Idaho prison system was in 1989. And that was in itself, so I guess a really weird experience, because back then they had this program in the prison system called the Rider Program, but it was a military style up in Cottonwood. So I found myself marching up and down the streets for like 9 months. I don't know how long it was. It was a long time. And,
Cottonwood, Northern Idaho?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
They have Idaho Department of Corrections has a facility up there called NICI, and North Idaho Correctional Institution. And back then, that's how they felt the reform was headed, was through a boot camp program. And
tough love.
Yeah, I'll never forget. You know, marching up and down this, you know, the thing, and screaming cadence, and it's crazy, but I enjoyed it in a way.
Did you?
Yeah, because I wanted to be in the military.
Oh.
That was I tried to get in the military, but I had a felony, and they didn't want me.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, you were a little too late for that.
Yeah. That was a dream of mine.
But the regimentation always appealed to you.
Yeah, I liked it. I truly I admired it. I still do today.
Yeah. Well, there are certain universal applications to discipline, restraint, all that stuff, right? Yep. Consistency, working hard on stuff. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But in terms of like, you know, prison treatment, maybe not exactly the right way to go. Were there elements you took out of it, or did you have to experience something else to really kind of get to where you could see the light?
All it did was teach me how to have some, how to be detail oriented, right? So it did a funny thing, and it probably came out later, like as my work experience changed, right? So I get out of there this time, and I'm looking for work, and I go to College of Southern Idaho because they had posted a job, and I got told by Department of Labor, hey, there's a job at CSI that you might be good at. Your background is in television, and they're looking for a telecommunications director. And so I went and applied, and I mean, I don't think this guy will ever balk or like be ashamed that I told him, but his name's Jerry Beck. He was the Dean of Continuing Education at that time, later to be the president of CSI.
Okay.
He basically took me under his wing, and he hired me there, and I had another fabulous opportunity. You know, I had free college, and I had, you know, benefits, and I'm 21 years old. And before there was ever Zoom or Teams, there was this system that they designed at CSI, and it was a two-way interactive telecommunications system. The signal was sent by microwave. So it was a direct signal, right? Sure. And from CSI to Haley, from CSI to Gooding, were the outreach centers, right? These two old guys, Buzz True and Bon Malden, never forget their names. Rest in peace, both of them. Wonderful guys. You know, I don't know why they loved me, but they did. You know, it was cool because they were like these really smart engineer guys. Sure. And I'm just this little Mexican kid, right? You know, half a mess, right? But they would take me everywhere all over the southern United States, and we would hang microwave dishes and put up acoustic paneling and, you know, run cables and hang cameras. And all for the ultimate mission for me to operate the telecommunications department, which is run the classes from CSI that were airing to Gooding and to Haley, the outreach centers. So we did like a nursing class. We did a post class, which I'm going to tell you a story about the post class. So, which makes this, it all ties in together. So I'm doing this thing, and what a great opportunity, for real. Like, I'm operating the cameras or remote control in Gooding and Haley from a security system that's sending the signal by microwave. So it's got like a 2-second delay, right? Maybe 3. So if I try to pan right on camera 1 in Gooding, I had to remember, like, okay, hit it now and then let it go. My timing had to be perfect because it would stop the camera and then I'd zoom, right? And the mics were always hot. Anyways, I did this for, like I said, the nursing, history classes, and the post guys. So I got close with all those police officers, right? And none of them knew my history. None of them knew anything about me. And I'd go out on the floor and be like, "What's up, guys?" They're like, "Hey, Mario, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?" And funny thing, so I went into relapse. Again. And one day, Jerry Beck calls me to the office and he says, "Mario, can I talk to you real quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on, Jerry?" He says, he says, "I really like you." He says, "You have been an asset to CSI your entire time here. Until this moment, you've become a liability." And that has stuck with me my whole life, by the way. Like, because I looked up to him. I admired him.
Yeah, you let him down.
And I let him down. And I was like, oh. And I didn't think this was going to happen, but he fired me on the spot. And I just didn't know what to do. I went into a deep relapse. And I really don't know how it all went down. I mean, it just went down so fast. I don't really remember it. And at that time, I had these POs that were just like hardcore. They used to follow me around and stuff, and they'd come to my house at 2 or 3 in the morning and wake me up and drag me to the parole office to go do a UA. Sometimes in my boxers.
What's a UA?
Yeah, urine analysis.
Got it.
So to check my urine for drugs.
Yeah, and the PO, which is parole officer, you made that clear. Is my understanding is some of the strictness of your relationship with your PO is at the discretion of the PO.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They have quite a bit of leeway.
They have latitude, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, ultimately, I ended up getting in a scuffle with him. Let's just say that. And I accidentally ran his foot over with my car. So
he was an employee I had to let go of.
Yeah. So, anyways, he ended up really hating me. And unfortunately for both of us, all my bouts in and out of prison from then on out had something to do with him. Like, I got out and he's like, "I'm going to make sure you go straight back." And I'll tell you another little story to that is years later, I'm off of parole. I'm done. I'm moved away. And my my niece's mom calls me and says, "Hey, Mario, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, Michelle, what's up?" She goes, "Oh, not much. Just sitting here working the front desk. And I wanted to let you know that I walked into Pat Touche's office." I'm like, ew. It just gave me the heebie-jeebs when I heard the name. I'm like, oh, gosh, that's the guy. Yeah. That's the one that ran the foot over. That's the one that maced me. That's the one that beat me up. That's the one that used to follow me around. That's the one that used to do.
Your arch nemesis.
Yes. That's exactly what he was. She says, "Well, I walked in his office and I never looked, but I saw that your ID is thumbtacked to his corkboard." And it had been years since I've been on supervision there.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Oh my!
What a funny thing.
So much for serving the public good.
Yeah.
That's a wanted poster. You're like, you were his Dillinger or something like that.
I got to tell you, I felt a little proud for a second. I was like, oh, cool. He still remembers me. I own a spot in his head, right?
Don't run over a PO officer's foot with your car.
Yeah, never.
Accidentally or otherwise.
Yeah, it was an accident. So,
oh man,
yeah. Anyways, Wayne, how that went down was always the same. Wonderful job.
Yeah.
Great responsibility, hard worker, smart, growing, and all that. And then it would end up a relapse.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's burrow down. What do you think triggered that?
I just don't think I was worthy. I don't think I felt like I was worthy to be doing great things and to be liked and cared about and appreciated and respected. I never felt that.
So things would reach a certain peak as far as like functionality, success, maybe happiness, and then self-doubt would creep in.
Yeah.
Was there any specific emblem of self-doubt? Did you think about a specific thing? Or was it just a voice that said, you don't deserve this?
It was neither one. It was behind the scenes. One day, and I'm just talking about all the instances, one day I would somehow run into somebody that was high, and I would know the sign. I could see it from a mile away. I'd be like, that guy or that girl's high.
You could see it now, too.
Oh, yeah. Can see it now, too.
You tell me stories of this all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I would, I know where to go. I'm like, you know what? I feel like getting high. So not really knowing the damage that I was still feeling, right? I have this great job, but that doesn't fix me. A great job doesn't fix somebody. Being, doing responsible things doesn't fix you. What fixes you is mental health, help, counseling. And I never knew that. Not for a long time.
Yeah. And so in your stints in the penitentiary system, those things never hit home with you? The counseling, therapy, stuff like that, anything to equip you that when you got out and started to become successful that you were able to steer clear of it. Now, I think you finally have, but in those cycles, not really.
No, because it was like, Mario, you have to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Or Mario, you have to sit in this circle and tell me you're an alcoholic and then tell me a story about your alcoholism, right? In meetings. And I got to tell you, Wayne, that it tainted me against the program of NA and AA. Even to this day, I just don't feel it, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying that the way I feel is I remember being forced to go to meetings twice a day, and they would be sitting at my POs would be sitting at the fellowship hall in Twin Falls waiting for me to walk in, and then they would leave, and they would follow me out, and they would follow me home, and then they would leave me like 2 hours at home, and they'd come and knock at 1 o'clock in the morning on my window and make me get up and go with them to go take a UA. It never stopped, and I just didn't see anything but negativity associated with it. With what was told to me was recovery back then.
Yeah, it was all punitive.
Yeah, it was all punitive. Yeah,
gotcha. And so after a long stint, right? I mean, there must have been the mothership of your stay in prison. What was the longest stretch you did?
This last one.
Yeah.
It was a doozy. It was what they call a 5-piece, which a 5-piece is 5 years.
Gotcha.
I guess it kind of has some meaning to a 5-piece chicken nugget, but not really, right?
with really terrible breading.
Yes, with the worst breading ever. Yeah,
it's not kept warm like it needs to be. Oh man.
Yeah.
And so that was a culmination of being in and out. They finally threw a larger stint at you.
Yeah. Do you remember how long that stint is? I got 5 years fixed, which is how Idaho has their sentencing laws are mandatory minimums, and they gave me a life sentence on the end. So 5 to life is what they gave me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. It's scary, real.
And then the life is up to the review board to decide how they divvy that up or give you the big one, which is based on your behavior during the 5 years.
Yeah.
And how often do they check?
All the time. It's an ongoing thing. There's the CIS notes is where they're always notating your behavior and what you do and what your accomplishments are, what your, basically everything about you. They're evaluating you constantly.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. So was there something you were able to latch on to in the 5 years?
Yeah. So I told you that I was in the TV business, right? The
Yeah.
broadcasting business.
Oh, the seeds.
Yeah.
This is good storytelling.
Yeah. It all gets the seeds. Exactly.
If there's a gun in Act 1, it has to go off in Act 3. This is your video component. That's pretty good. Awesome. Good.
Yeah. So, I'm in prison up north in Orofino. I was trying to be close to my family because my brothers were up there. I wanted visits, and so I requested a transfer up there. So they took me up there, and I wasn't there very long. But I'm walking through the school. I'm trying to get enrolled in school. I want to do something different. I knew when I got convicted, when I was given that sentence, that I had to do something to fix my life and get better forever, Wayne, or I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison. Like the judge said, he said, Mario, I don't think you're a bad person. And this is his quote exactly. He says, I feel like you have been an addict your whole life. So I'm not going to give you the 8 years fixed that the prosecutor wants. I'm going to give you 5 because you know you shouldn't have been doing what you were doing. However, I'm going to give you a life sentence on the end, and you're going to fix what's wrong, and you're going to stop doing drugs, you're going to stop partying, or else you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Do you understand? That planted a seed, Wayne.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I felt like everything was real.
Yeah.
Because it was real. It doesn't get more real than a life sentence.
No, the stakes are high.
Yeah.
And you spent enough time in the outside world to know that there were parts of it that you liked more than prison.
Yeah. Many. Lots. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the randomly and overwhelmingly feeling that you needed to get high might not have been worth it.
Yeah. For the first time.
Yeah.
It actually seemed like I was closing the book, or it was getting closed for me, right? That chapter is over. And I knew it. I knew it with every fiber in my body. I knew it. And I'll tell you, after I got that sentence given to me, and this is prior to all that, I went to my tier, and there's no crying in prison, just like there's no crying in baseball, right? There's no crying in prison. You can't cry. But the bailiff put her arm around me on the way back to the unit. She says, Mario, it's going to be okay. You can get out in 5 years. And I'm bawling, I get all the tears wiped up. I get into my cell. I decided I got to take a shower because that's where I'm going to let out the tears, right? So I went and I got in the shower, and I cried for like half an hour in the shower.
Wow.
And prayed. And, I talked to God, and I'm like, please just like heal me from this, like now and forever. And I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that for some reason it just worked. And,
it did. Yeah. You did it with a humility that maybe you never had before.
Right. Scared humility.
Yeah. Well, opening up is really scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what kind of oxygen is going to get in there.
Right.
But you hope it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was. This is Reformed and Real. In case you're just joining us, I'm Wayne Burt, joined by Mario Hernandez. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
You are the subject du jour today. Man, you were telling us a great story, a hard story.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. Yeah.
The reality, and not just for me, but a lot of people in this country. Right?
Yes, right.
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
That's the crux of this, right? Because there's millions of people across this country that went through the exact same thing, but just different, right? That I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we're setting out to say, hey, Mario's going to tell you a story that will never, ever be told again.
No.
There's so much universality to it. And, if you are just tuning in, Mario has told us his story of, maybe the things in his life growing up that led to, some ill-advised behavior, a lot of drug stuff, and then the accumulation of skills in the video and audio world combined with a lot of relapses, and finally a 5-year stint in prison. So you're just starting your 5-year term in prison. How old were you?
I was 46.
When you started this?
Yeah. When I started this last one, 46.
So you had 46, I'm doing the math, I'm very bad at it.
32 years roughly.
32 years of cycling in and out of the prison system.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing how that when you look at it in that perspective,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
Yeah. That's a lot of, I was going to say a lot of commitment to relapsing, but really a lot of lack of commitment. Right. It feels like to me. Yeah. But when you went in and when the judge gave you that talk that seemed to have a very deep impact, how then did that affect your conduct in prison? Because I'm assuming that you served the whole 5 years.
Oh yeah. 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 You know, it from the day I got sentenced until the day I got released, I had one objective, one goal, because not only was I scared, but I knew that I couldn't continue to live like that, Wayne. That was it. I had to make a change forever. It just was not, it's not feasible. Like there's no whole, I mean, I'm looking at 50, I'm pushing 50 and I'm sitting in prison. I've got all these charges and, you know, trafficking and sales and possession and, you know, and then concealing and what evidence, because I was trying to hide stuff. I was so frantic. I knew it was time. And when I first got to the first institution, I went straight to the school. And I'm like, what can I do here? I want to be in school. I want to do something. I want to do something. I don't know what.
Where'd you go? CSI?
From
in
yeah, well, it was just it's called Robert Jantz School.
Gotcha.
That was named after a guy named Robert Jantz who started the educational program in IDOC facilities years and years, 50 years ago.
Yeah, IDOC being the Idaho Department of Corrections.
Yes,
right?
yes. So, you know, I took some, I don't know, it was like maybe a Microsoft Office class or something that I did, and then I took that transfer up north to Orofino, and that I was talking about, and I go into the school, and I walk by this guy, and he's on a laptop. I'm like, well, that's cool. He's on a laptop in prison. That's cool. But he was doing something that caught my eye. He was trying to edit a video, and I stopped my track. I'm like, turn around. I'm like, are you trying to edit a video? He goes, yeah, I just can't figure out how this works. And I looked at it, and at that time, so just mind you that I come from the analog world, right?
Yes.
I don't know anything about digital, but I know about what it's supposed to look like, right?
Sure.
So I walked by, and I'm like, okay. The problem is see those gaps in between video clips? That's why you keep going to black, because there's nothing there. So let me do this and do this and do this. And then I press play, and he says, oh my gosh, that's crazy. He goes, that's awesome. He goes, you know how to do this? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of my jam. That's my thing. I know how to video edit. And he says, really? And I said, yeah. He says, you should apply for a job at the school. And it's funny that I just happened to be in the school, and I walked over to the principal. His name was David Manley. Rest in peace. He passed away recently. Just the most wonderful man. I hate to go off on a tangent, but just the most wonderful man you'll ever meet. He did some great things. Great man, great individual. Anyways, I told him, I says, this is my history. This is what I used to do. And I used to video edit. I want to see, how do you feel about hiring me to produce educational content for the school? And he's like, what does that look like? You know? And I says, well, you guys have a channel here where you show, like, you know, things that are going on, like a menu, attendance for medical call-outs or stuff like that. I'm like, what are the odds of getting a channel like that we can put on, you know, talk about the school and just promote the school and promote education and do all this stuff? And he said, that sounds like a great idea. And so we did it. And I did it there for months. And I ended up getting transferred back down south. And one of these days I'll get into that, but maybe not. I don't know.
Sure.
I'll tell you about that.
Okay.
But remind me in the future, like 6 months down the road.
I will. And I'm going to say, hey, stop hiding stuff from me.
Yeah. And I'll say, all right, well, I'll bring it out. So, you know, I get down to the south, to the main complex in Cuna, where they have the maximum security, medium security, minimum security, and, you know, community custody facilities. And
what's the name of that facility?
The one that I went to was Idaho State Correctional Institution.
Gotcha.
And, I sent the principal a kite, and they had all been up to tour when I was up north and watched. They're like, if there's ever any time that you come to our facilities, will you help us build a program like this? I'm like, well, yeah, And so I get there, and he says, I can't believe you're here. He says, you could start tomorrow. And I said, okay. So I went to the school the next day, and I told him, I says, this is what I want to do, and this is what I feel, and can we open up a channel here, and can we do this? Can we do the educational programming? Can we do some shows? Can we do? And he's like, yes, 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 and yes, yes. And in that relationship right there with him, with the school, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So, there might be people that are going to get upset about the story I'm about to say, but that's okay. So I'm going to tell you something about something that happened in the prison system that never does. Okay, so they asked me, Mario, can you help us produce sanitation videos for Idaho Department of Correction, not just for residents, but for the staff? And I said, absolutely. And the whole facility was locked down. So you could only be they didn't let us go anywhere. So one day they says, hey, how do you feel? Can you do this if we had to do it in your cell? I'm like, well, yeah. What do you need? I gave him a list, and like a week later comes this cart full of equipment, and I set up a studio in my prison cell, a production studio, microphone, dual monitors, a great computer for editing, and I got busy, and I spent the whole COVID making videos out of there. And every once in a while, I'd get out and do some filming out in the while they were doing their sanitizing, and then we would narrate it. And that we made one for the staff, two for the staff specifically for the machine that they were using. And I think those are on their website. So, I met Lieutenant Stelzer. He was that's my guy. That's my friend. He's truly a blessing for everybody that's incarcerated right now in IDOC. And so are so many more.
Sure.
So I got to tell you, Wayne, I'm not singling him out. We got countless staff members that are awesome.
Yeah.
That are doing great things for people like me incarcerated. So he gave me that opportunity. And, I went to the parole board, and it's funny. It was right during COVID. I went to parole board at the end of COVID, and they said, what's different about you? And I just talked, and I really don't remember what I said, but I know what I said, but I don't remember what I said. Is what I said what was in my heart. Is like, that's just not me anymore, and that person is gone. He no longer exists, and you have the real me that's been here my whole life. That's just been trying to get out and stay out, not get out of prison, but get out of my, have me just come to like be real and be like, and I don't know how to describe that. Anyways, the real me is here. And they says, well, we got a letter from the prosecutor in Twin Falls. The prosecutor wants you to do 10 more years. And my heart sunk, right? My heart sunk. And I was like, and honestly, my thought was, well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm good. 10 more years. I'm ready. Let's do it. But something interesting happened, right? They told me, they said, so we're reading all your notes from staff members, and they're talking about this thing you did. And one of the staff members tells this thing and tells me this thing, and he says, Mario single-handedly changed the way education operates with the media program. And this was Chuck Durant. I'll never forget him. And when I heard him say that, I'm like, he said that about me? That's crazy. I didn't know how to take it, but I loved it. Along with other staff members that said, Mario did this and this in the program. And, I had one issue while I was in prison that was kind of it wasn't a big deal, but they asked me about it. And I told them, I was honest with them. I said, this is what happened. They said, Mario, don't you think everything happens for a reason? And I looked at him, and the scared went away. And I was like, you know what? I absolutely think that everything happens for a reason. Thanks for asking. I think that nothing happens has happened in my life that didn't have to do with me sitting right here, right now. And I want you to know that my life is different today, and it's going to stay different.
Yeah.
And they gave me a parole date.
That's great.
And my family was like, it was funny because everybody was screaming. Everybody was on Zoom and everybody's like, yeah, it was like a little party.
Little Zoom party.
Yeah.
We had a lot of those Zoom parties during COVID.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, if I were part of that and you had said it that way to me, I probably would have been inclined to, let you go too.
Yeah.
That's great. And that brings us to here, where you have decided to take the things that you've learned in your life and in the prison system and turn it into a force to help other people who might have been in the position, who might be in a position that you used to be in, right? And that's kind of what learning how to live does. And I know we're going to hear more about that through the course of episodes. And I know we'll hear a lot about the projects that you're working on now, including this, right?
Yeah.
This podcast. But it sounds like, unless I'm mistaken, once you got out, you hit the ground running.
Yeah, in a weird way. I got out on a Tuesday.
I guess that's something a person would remember.
Yeah, doesn't that remind you of Forrest Gump? Because he said, remember, he said, you died on a Tuesday. But I did get out on a Tuesday. And I was like, what am I going to do? I got out and I kissed the dirt outside of the prison. I said, and I pointed my fingers up to the sky and I looked up and I said, never again. Yeah. Just like that. And I stood up and I jumped in my friend's car that was giving me a ride home. And I was like, okay, what are we going to do here? She goes, Mario, let's take you. We're just going to get you a pillow and a blanket and let's do some stuff for you. And we did all that stuff. And at the end, I'm like, I need a job. Her friend came over just to visit her. And she says, oh, I work for a drywall company. You want to go to work for a drywall company? I said, yep, I do. I wasn't I wasn't bougie. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I had been in prison for 5 years. I want a job.
Sure.
That pays me money so I could get a car and pay my bills and eat.
Sure.
So I got a job with, at Summit Wall Systems in Boise here. Great people, amazing company, and really probably the best thing that could have happened to me when I got out because they're such good people.
Gotcha.
And they knew my history and they hired me anyways. And because I told them, I'm like, you know what, I'm a felon and I'm just trying to change my life and I want to move on from all that and I don't want to do this anymore. And if you guys hire me, I just want you to know that I can't stay here, that I am going to move on. But I need to make some money and I'll work hard for you. It won't be a waste of your training time. It won't be a waste. I'll bust a move for you. And they hired me anyways. What a cool bunch of guys. Honestly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And they didn't have a problem when the day came that I moved on. I was honestly talking to my sister the whole time I'm in prison. So I'm going to step back a little bit. Never really got that I was editing videos and building media programs in prison. No matter how many times I told her, she never really got it. Right. When I get out, we decide, she says, well, do you want to do a nonprofit? Do you want to try to do something? I'm like, well, I think IDOC might hire me in education. And Wayne, they were willing to give me a policy override to work in education, to do this program that I'd started in prison.
Which was something they had to make an exception for.
Right.
Yeah.
And they never did because I ended up deciding that I wanted to do a nonprofit, and it was called Learning How to Live, which is where we're sitting right now, which is what it's culminated into.
Yeah, nice studio, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Well, it sounds good.
It does sound good.
There's stuff everywhere, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's funny that when they welcomed me and then they welcomed me on my way out, and one of them's still my friend on Facebook, and sometimes he writes stuff to me. He's like, "How you doing, buddy?" I'm like, "I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much." I took another job. I think I told you I managed restaurants for a minute. I took a restaurant management job, and I realized, whoa, this is not what I wanted. 60 hours a week.
Sure.
Again. While my sister and I devised our plan for this Learning How to Live, and one day, I met somebody wonderful a while back. Her name's Maureen O'Toole. She's the person that gave me the idea, Mario, you should do something great with this idea you have of media production inside a prison, and turn it into a nonprofit. So with my sister and our conversations, Natalie says, you know what, let's do it. Let's see how this looks. And honestly, I got some pushback from my PO. My PO didn't want me going back into the prison. She didn't think that I was capable of doing that without getting in trouble. And that's just, it's par for the course. I deserve that. And, my history shows that that's how she should feel about it. So that's fine. So one day we applied for a grant and we got it. And little old me. And I started my program inside a prison. And today, right now, we have 5 institutions across the state being trained in my media program, and 5 institutions offering apprenticeships to all of my students, producing work for community entities that are, charities and nonprofits, right? So we do that now. Now I've got these guys that are going through the same thing I did. They're doing time, and they found this thing, right? That's some light. And so now I bring it to the prisons. I teach them. They get work, and we live happily ever after. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure there's some bumps and bruises in there.
Yeah.
And that's probably what we're going to talk about. We'll talk to people who are on the side of helping, people that work for the Department of Corrections, and we'll talk to people like yourself who are right there in the middle of their own story.
Yeah.
The people in the middle of their own story and those that are throwing them lines or creating more obstacles.
Right.
Sounds like you had a number of both in your life.
Yeah.
And don't anybody out there who's listening to the show called Reformed and Real believe that the story of Mario Hernandez is all wrapped up, because it's not. There's much more to come. And we'll learn a little bit more about your past. But, what a great light you've shed on your journey. And I really, feel heartened by all the people that sort of, recognize some good in you and helped you along, you know. And now we'll start on this project. Now you reeled me into this project. And
hence Reformed and Reeled?
Reeled, yes. Yeah, it's the fishing meta. It's not really reel, the film. It's fishing, yeah. But it's been a pleasure, and we'll have more of this, more episodes to come.
All right, Wayne, thank you for having us here together and doing this with me. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a wonderful journey.
It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to, putting the human spin on many, many more people.
All right, everybody.
Have a good one.